To answer the debugging questions in this quiz, first open a new tab and go to Tinkercad. Click on Circuits and create a new circuit. Tinkercad gives you a weird default name. Here, this one says Neat Blower Jofo. I'm going to click on that and rename it Quiz. And then I need to add an Arduino to my circuit. Then click on Code and switch it to Text. Now I'm going to go back to the quiz and I'm going to highlight all of the code in this question and copy it either with Control-C or right-click and copy. And then using Control-A or select all, I'm going to delete that and paste with Control-V or paste right here. I'm going to paste the code from that question and then I'm going to start the simulation. Now these are debugging questions, so I should get an error. And sure enough, right here I get a little error message that says something's wrong with my code. When you get your error message, you need to read it. So there's only one error here, so this refers to the first error. You always want to work when you're solving problems with error messages, you want to work from the first error that's shown down because sometimes one error causes a bunch of other errors, and when you fix the first one, it fixes the rest. Here it says that it thinks the error is on line 14 right here, and that it's beginning on character 3. You have to take this part with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's not. But it does give you an idea of where to start looking. The next part, you're always going to see if it's an error, it's going to say the word error. This part here gives us a clue as to what we need to be looking for. I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to copy it, but I can't do Control-C. I actually have to right click on it and hit copy. For some reason, Control-C doesn't seem to work. Then I'm going to go back to my quiz. Once you have your error message, scroll up to just a little bit, and then you can right click on Home and open link a new tab. That allows us to get to the home page where we can open the site pages, and within there you will see a link to the Arduino Troubleshooter database. Go ahead and open that and then click on Search. I'm going to search for our error message by pasting it into the problem or error message box here, and then I'm going to hit the enter key to search. Now I don't get a result, and that's because this error message is too specific, and specifically this last part, the delay, that makes it too specific. If I go back to Tinkercad and I change this delay command to, let's say it's just another digital write, then down here at the bottom where you see delay, we're going to see that change to digital write. If I change it to Bob, it changes to Bob. So the problem is these error messages are very specific to that exact error. So when I'm searching for them in the database, I can create a database that can hold lots and lots of error messages, but it can't hold every possible variation. So we need to chop off the part of your error message that's at either the beginning or the end of your error message that's in single quotes. So let me repeat that. If you have something at the beginning or the end of your error message that is in single quotes, we need to chop it off. Notice that the semicolon here, it's in single quotes, but I'm not chopping that off or taking it out or deleting it because it's in the middle of the error message. It's things at the beginning or the end that we need to worry about. So I'm going to go back to the Arduino troubleshooter and I'm going to highlight that last part there that's in single quotes and I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to search again, but again, I'm going to have a problem, and that's because I have a trailing white space. I have to also get rid of this trailing white space. And sometimes I see students, when they copy the error message, they accidentally copy a white space at the beginning. You need to make sure you don't have any white spaces at the beginning or the end of your error message, and then hit enter, and you should get a hit. Here it says found one record right here. And if we look, yeah, expected a semicolon before something. And so here it says you probably forgot to put a semicolon at the end of the line directly above the line indicated by your error message. And the error code here is 1. Well, first things first, this error code is actually the first question we need to answer back in our quiz. That's this part right here. What is the corresponding Arduino troubleshooter error code? Well, we just saw that it was a 1, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And then it says, what line is the error on? Now, if we look at circuits, it says line 14, but if I go over here, it says it's probably above the line. Right here it says above the line indicated by your error message. So let's go back to our circuit and look above line 14 at line 13. And here I can see that it says digital write yellow LED, comma low, but at the very end there's no semicolon. Well, there's a semicolon here, here, and here. I probably need one here. In fact, I do need one here. So the error is actually occurring on line 13. I'm going to go ahead and put the semicolon in here, and I'm going to put in my quiz question here, what line is the error on? I'm going to put 13 instead of 14 there. And then I'm going to go back to circuits or to Tinkercad, and I'm going to try and run it again. And this time I don't get an error message. So I'm going to hit stop and go back here, and it says fix the incorrect line of code. The easiest way to do this is after you compile your code, just copy the line that you fixed. I'm going to right click and hit copy here and then paste it right in here. And then just hit check. And you can see that I got all 3 of these parts correct. If I were to somehow get the question incorrect by misidentifying the error message, the error code, and then blindly following the line indicated by the error message as far as what line the error was on, and then not including the semicolon that should be there. If I were to do those 3 things, I'd get all 3 of these questions wrong. If that happens, hover your mouse over each answer and read the feedback. Here it says search for expected semicolon. So this is the thing we're supposed to search for inside the Arduino troubleshooter. It tells us. The next one tells us, it just reminds us that we need to read the solution that's listed in the Arduino troubleshooter. Every once in a while there'll be a couple solutions and it'll actually indicate which solution, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then down here it actually tells us exactly what was wrong and what we need to do to fix it. So using this quiz, it is my hope that you will get a lot better at debugging your own programs and answering your own questions using the Arduino troubleshooter so that you can progress through this curriculum much more quickly and with greater ease and less frustration. Although you don't need to, you can add a resistor and a couple LEDs colored the same way as in your program, so that would be green and yellow, so that you can see your program execute uh, kind of all aspects, right? Instead of just blinking the onboard LED, we can actually see it blinking the green and yellow LEDs that are attached to pins 13 and 12. And if you want things to be a little brighter, just click on that resistor, and instead of 1,000 or 1 kiloohm, 1,000 ohms, we can just put 100 and then switch this to ohms, and we'll see things get a little brighter. This is a nice visual way to see that your program is definitely working.